Right. So, guys, let's talk about what you sort of alluded to already. Next topic, which is Stephen Knight to write a new Star Wars
Sorry.
movie after Damon Lindelof, Justin Britt Gibson exit. Now, I think what is perhaps interesting about this is the fact that this was Damon Lindelof's film, right? This was Damon Lindelof's movie.
That's kind of how they were selling it, yeah.
No.
Well, it was. So he was writing it first. So the news story ran, Damon Lindelof is on board writing a Star Wars movie, a trilogy or whatever. Damon Lindelof then brings in Justin Britt Gibson to co-write that project with Damon Lindelof. So they write it together. Then Lucasfilm gets the director, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, the activist who worked on some Ms. Marvel episodes. So this is, for all intents and purposes, it was Damon Lindelof's film, right? He obviously pitched a script treatment to Lucasfilm in some regard, and they were like, "Yeah, cool, that's not bad. Go work on a script then. We'll get a director sorted." That's essentially how it would have gone down, right?
Yep.
And then they've gone, "Nah, creative differences. We're walking away." And they're like, "Well, we're keeping the director. We're just going to get a new writer on board." So it's a brand new film then, basically. Yeah, it's basically a brand new film. And the writer for this, I don't think is particularly great for this at all, actually. So it's the Peaky Blinders creator. Wait, not writer. That's important. That's important. Okay. So Stephen Knight, who is he? What's he been working on? He is a veteran screenwriter. He launched his career specializing in gritty crime dramas like Dirty Pretty Things, Eastern Promises, and then did The 100-Foot Journey, Allied, and then recently did Spencer.
I don't know any of those.
Spencer's the Princess Diana thing.
Oh.
So, sure, the gritty crime stuff maybe crosses over into Star Wars a little bit, maybe, if you really want to push it. But it's not going to be R-rated. It's not going to be as gritty as you think it's going to be. And certainly not is it going to be... Where's the fantastical elements that you have to have in Star Wars? Where's the space battles? Where's the... obviously we don't know where this was going to go, but I just don't see this being a great fit. I mean, just as an FYI, because I'm sure people will be like, yeah, but he's really good. Yeah, but he's being managed by KK. So is she going to utilize him to the best of his abilities? No, of course not. Thoughts anyway, guys. There's my sort of quick rundown.
No, I think you put it at best as like, this is pretty much a new project now. I mean, unless they're just kind of hanging on to this director because they're afraid to fire him over politics, or they just want to keep him happy. Because otherwise at this point, because Lindelof, what he had said, his whole like diatribe of leaving the project, it was kind of like, okay, somebody wrote that for you. But because he's not that good of a writer. But yeah, that was a joke. But anyway, his whole thing was like, maybe I should not be writing these things and just be watching them.
It's about a cook bin in the kitchen, basically. And I said I'd heard from sources that it was creative differences.
That's basically what it sounds like. Yeah.
And when he said that, he was already off the project at that point in time.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he was.
So I think you're right. Like, ostensibly, this is basically a new project now, really. It's just a director moving on to... Because I doubt, unless he hangs on to some kind of credit, like, for creating the story idea or something like that, then at that point, if his name is not on it at all, then you're right.
Yeah.
Mate, this is a completely new project.
And what's the over-under on this thing ever even happening anyways?
Oh, God. 60-40? Yeah. Maybe even less?
Yeah. Well, I think... So that's an interesting point that you raised there, right? And further to your point, Tom, is that if his name isn't attached to this in any way, shape, or form, there's no credits anywhere for like a script treatment idea, a story by, but the director is, it goes to show that the director is just for hire, has no passion in anything that she does, right? Why do I say that? Well, she would have been pitched the script treatment idea, the story from Damon Lindelof initially, and then she's just like, oh yeah, I'll stay on. Who cares?
Basically a work for hire situation.
Yeah. So you can almost discount most of her work moving forwards as made for committee stuff. because she won't push back. She'll have no conviction or passion for a project, which matters. She won't push back against it, and maybe that's why KK likes her. Maybe that's why that she's on board, because it's someone they can mold. It's someone they can just use. Hey, point the camera over there. Just go make this film. That's what it sounds like to me. Culture, you look like you want to chime in.
Is the message getting out to the fans? The message that we want to tell?
Well, Nick, that's obviously the goal here. I mean, there was a story dropped today in one of the trades about that. But setting all of that aside, you can be all the activist you want to be. You just have to live to what somebody wants you to make. I'm not surprised that they immediately grabbed another writer, because they have been called out by us, the fans, for all the stuff they haven't made and they've announced. I mean, the list is quite long. I mean, we're not even joking.
Yeah.
The graphic speaks for itself, but there's even more there than that hasn't been made, that wasn't even represented on that graphic by Mr. Roboto. So I look at it and I go, well, the next question is, will this even be made anyway? Because now you're starting back at ground one with maybe a loose concept, maybe not. And I think Tom's right. I mean, a work for hire situation, sure, you've got a lot of different things in play here, but you've got one idea rather than two. You've got a lot that they can play with. I mean, but it all comes down to this. Who wants a Ray film? Because they stick with that original idea. Who wants to see, bitter, non-emoting, flat performance from, an actress who's capable of much more? Because, if all of a sudden she's more engaging and, is allowed to, have more than 3 facial expressions, she's going to be out of character for the thing that she created in the previous 3 films. I mean, I can go on and on, but I don't see an audience demand for Star Wars 10, Rey's next adventure. I just don't see that.
No way.
Well,
and on top of that, if you go back and look at the different trilogies, the prequel trilogy, it was a whole new cast, characters. Of course, Darth Vader was a part of it, but it was before he became Darth Vader. That didn't happen until the end. And then the original trilogy, all new characters and people. Some of them that the main one, which was that had to do with Skywalker with Vader and stuff, of course, was there. And then the sequel trilogy, all new characters. You had like 1 or 2 of the main ones, and then so the next one, I just don't think that Rey or any of those people that was just associated with one of the trilogies that doesn't have like a connection other than just meeting one time, one of the OG characters, needs to even be in the next trilogy at all.
Yeah. And so going back to what we were saying about variety ragging on Marvel, right? And Disney in general, they do it again here. So we talk about the trades finally having to admit stuff. Earlier in March, Variety reported that separate movies, one shepherding by Patty Jenkins, Kevin Feige, they've been shelved. No longer in development. J.D. Dillard told The Wrap in November that he was no longer developing a Star Wars project. And then they just go off. They just go off. 2019, Game of Thrones. David Benioff and D.B. Weiss walked away. And then in September 2017, Lucasfilm Kathleen Kennedy fired Colin Trevorrow. 3 months earlier, she fired Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. Even though the film had completed a fraction. While Gareth Edwards retained directing credits, Rogue One story, blah, blah, he was replaced by Tony Gilroy for extensive reshoots. They're just like, they're shit, basically.
Yeah, and we had Tim Rose on our one of our videos that we did, who was the actor who lives over in the UK that played the original Admiral Akbar, and then he was Akbar in the sequels, and then of course
didn't he also do the puppetry for Salacious B. Crumb and stuff too, or somebody else? I can't remember now. He did somebody else too, I swear.
He did, I think, one of the it was either Salacious Crumb or it was one of the Max Rebo
I was gonna say, yeah, because he was one of the puppeteer guys.
Yep. So, but yeah, he was telling us that the Rogue One film that they actually made before Gilroy came in was way better than the film that actually came out.
Well, a lot of that stuff was in the trailer. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and I liked the Rogue One that we got. It was my favorite out of the Star Wars films that Disney's released, even though I had some issues with it. But overall, I liked the film. But apparently, it was going to be a lot better than it actually was.
Wow.
I have breaking news, a special announcement. Mexican Iron Man would like to announce that he is making his own Star Wars movie. He says since everybody else just has to go out and announce it and they get one. So
this is true. It's basically Lucasfilm is a complete joke at this point in time.
Don't you have to actually get down and say, "Oh, Queen Kathy, let me make a Star Wars
the ring."
Thing. Yeah. I don't think Mike's capable of that kind of bow down, but maybe.
They probably give us better than what we're getting.
That's not hard.
Very true.